What it do? What it do? What it do? It's your boy Andrew Schultz, aka Mr. Goody Two Shoes, and I'm here with Joseph Huggins, aka Old Man Huggy, episode 49. Woo! Let's go, motherfuckers.
Yeah, dude, 49. And I'm actually pretty stoked that we're doing this because we got 50 on Monday, half the century mark, the halfway. And that's going to be pretty exciting. So, and we got, four guests? We'll talk about it later, but we got a big show planned for Monday. But I'm good. It's the weekend. We're here. An extra episode this week. I'm fucking ready, bro.
Yeah, I'm ready too. It's three guests. Uh,
Hmm.
so basically, yeah, we don't have to talk about it later. We'll just hit them with it right now. Um, everybody besides the super producer, which started the podcast with me because he's just got other things going on. Anybody who's ever been on the podcast, which is we've had three guests. Well, Joseph was a fourth guest until he took over full time. Um, are going to be on the podcast with us. It might be a little bit of a logistical challenge having five of us on there at the same time, but I think it's going to be fucking fun, and it's a celebration, episode 50.
Yeah, I already went through and made a template, so I've got something that can have five video feeds at once. But we'll definitely need to get together Sunday because I'm gonna have to technically figure this out and how I can get five separate feeds and everybody just make sure it looks good so it's easy. So, and we also apologize, we were having audio issues, so we actually slipped through while I was sitting here working and staring at my computer and switched over to live, and you were fine, but I was staring into my camera trying to get the computer to work. But yeah,
Smoke more weed, homie. Smoke more weed.
Hey man, watch out, dude. Hey, this takes a lot, man. This is like a whole thing over here all at once. But I'm pretty excited about Monday. And yeah, we'll have all the other guests. It's looking like it's gonna be a good fucking time.
Yeah, it's be super fun. Okay, well, do you want to start, or do you want me to start us off with therapy questions?
Well, yeah. Before we do that, man. So no, there is this crazy thing that came in the mail. A letter from the NRA from Mr. Wayne LaPierre, the executive VP, sent to the crib, and it's
lock him up,
dude, and it's the dumbest. It's so goofy. There's a couple sentences that start with a capitalized and. It's the worst punctuation. It's got the weirdest bolds.
That is because I used to think that same thing. I think you're allowed to a certain sentences started with a capital A.
Yeah,
on the and.
You might. I mean, it's just weird because it's triple spaced and then triple spaced. So it looks like it could be maybe 3/4 of a page, but it's split up into a whole page front and back, and it's spaced out. So it looks like somebody's really shitty outline where it's got to be at least one page front and back, or two pages, just fronts. It looks like somebody really stretched this. I would bomb this person, but it starts out, "Dear friend of freedom." Comma. I'm not, and it says Monday morning, dear friend of freedom. Unless you fight back starting now, you'll soon face the real threat of having your guns confiscated, along with your rights to self-defense. 8 spaces. No, I'm not talking about run-of-the-mill gun control. And then it's bold and italicized, talking about an actual ban on firearms you currently own, government confiscation of those firearms, and you facing jail time if you fail to comply.
Well, if they, which they probably won't because otherwise it would have already happened. If they do pass an assault weapons ban, which I know the House today was might have already passed. They were debating it, and Pelosi, all she does is put bills on the floor that get passed, but it'll die in the Senate. But are they even talking about confiscating these people's weapons, or they're just you can't buy them anymore?
Yeah, I think it would be something you can't buy them anymore, because there's some people who own guns that are considered. Yeah, there's some people who own guns that are considered illegal, but they're not. It's like a car with emissions. There's some cars that have horrible emissions, terrible emissions, but they're grandfathered in because they're old classic cars, so they're allowed to drive them and they pass inspection because they can't do anything about it. So I don't think that there's but I mean the way it's written is so inflammatory and super over the top.
Yeah, well, what else is new by the fucking NRA?
But I will.
I can't believe they didn't bounce Wayne LaPierre by now. Like that dude is so toxic. It's like, but probably nobody else wants the fucking job. Like, but he was like misusing their funds, like
Yeah,
for
they
like
got in trouble.
vacations. Yeah, they're about to get like dissolved by
Yeah,
the New York State Attorney. Like, so whatever.
but if they can come up with something to like, if you know, there's like some public outcry. I don't know. Very interesting. What
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm getting texts from like Bernie Sanders, like to hit him up with some money. You're getting NRA shit.
Oh, dude, I get the. For the first time in American history, a powerful gang of federal and state gun politicians, unelected bureaucrats, elitist billionaires, and media propagandists are openly calling, and then it goes, are, all underlined in bold, are openly calling for your guns to be banned and turned into the government. And make no mistake, if we as free citizens don't let our guard down for one moment, it will only be a matter of time.
Wayne LaPierre. Remember when all your Republican donors like banned abortion? Like, talk about freedom. Like, you just like strip freedom away from 50% of the goddamn country's population. You piece of shit.
And if you become a member in the next 30 days, you'll also receive a free thank you gift, NRA's Desert Storm Tactical Backpack, a $24.95 value, as our way of welcoming you to the NRA family.
Pass.
With its generous size and rugged construction, this backpack will give you years of proud, heavy duty, and all capitalized service, whether you're away for just one night or an extended trip. So don't wait. I'm not even what?
The small dick energy coming off of Wayne LaPierre is palpable.
Dude, that's wild, man. That turns into like a backpack ad.
Micro penis that it has. Not even saying allegedly.
Fight, yeah, and then
I've
the way
seen it.
But I mean, even if you just glance over it, you're like the words that you see is like fight, win, you, because it's like, but our ability to fight and win comes from you. Without you, our fight dies, and so does our freedom. This is
So it's so funny like that. It's like Trump is like supposed to be like the leader of the Republican Party and like fight for your Second Amendment rights. I doubt he's ever shot a gun in his life.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that's necessarily the case anymore. I mean, we can chit chat about that in a little bit, but it seems like, I mean,
Well, no, yeah, I know what you mean. Like,
he might not be their boy anymore, dude. They might be moving on. They might be. I told you, dude. DeSantis, man, DeSantis, and
no,
DeSantis is nuts.
I agree. I agree with you. I
He's
just don't think
nuts.
I don't think DeSantis is going to beat a Democrat in the actual election. But again, like I don't want to jinx it, and also I didn't think Trump could beat Hillary Clinton, and I mean he still lost by 4 million votes, but he still won the fucking election.
Oh yeah. Well, after I saw that, whenever there was that Al Gore, I wasn't confused, but what I think we were in like 8th grade or some shit when that happened. Whenever it was that election, and I remember just sitting there and being so curious, like what the fuck is going on and how is this not decided? And then I remember them announcing it for Al Gore, and then changing it again, and I was like updating it on the computer, like constantly hitting refresh. But that old dog bitch Bess was always blocking all the websites, so he couldn't see anything. Do you remember that shit? Do you remember that shit?
Yes.
Yeah, it was like this little.
No, bro, dude, you're talking to the first ever catfish, dude. I was like,
Well,
like
no, you told me about that.
my internet game was just on point.
No, I'm
But
talking about the school computers. There was a school computers in the classroom that
oh
had that
yeah.
software, and it was called Bess, and it
But
had this like
I found out
like
how
golden
to.
retriever or some bullshit on it, and it would always pop up if you tried to go to Candyland and play some miniature golf or some shit. That fucking dog would pop up, man.
But no, I actually found out how to hack it, and so I was able to like type in like code where it would bypass the privacy like settings on our in our high school. That was tight.
Okay, that's tight. Because then I remember, like, it seemed like pointless. But yeah, there was a period of time where like everything was blocked because they would catch everybody playing stuff or watching weird shit on E-Bombs World.
Yeah, that's at my at my work, like my previous job. They try to do that shit, like block it, and then it was just like I figured out like real quick. I wasn't even close to what I had to do with the shit like in high school, and I was like, okay, well, here we go. But I also didn't want to like I would just use my phone, because I don't want to be like on like social media at work or then be able to see that.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I try to stay off and not. I'm not. I used to play so many. I don't really play anything on my phone or dick around on my phone too much. I had a Switch for a while. I mean, I still have it, but that was like dangerous. And then I was always like, man, I'm like felt too old to be carrying around a video game system. I know that sounds cheesy, but
Dude, I just sorry to cut you off, but bought this console. It's like it's in the mail on the way to me, and it's like I already have like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Sega Genesis.
yeah,
But they're like the preloaded ones,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it never has the games that I actually wanted. This one that I just bought, I think it's called like a G unit, not no, maybe not G unit, like G unit, but it's called something like a G box, and it's got like over 2,000 games on it, and it's like arcade games, like the tight ones, like Ninja Turtles and The Simpsons, but then also like every Nintendo game and Sega game that you could ever imagine. Like
Yeah, you got it on like Wish or something like that. That sounds like some Wish shit.
it was like no,
Because
it
I've
was
seen
like
those. I've seen those before. They're pretty sweet. The emulators, and they have like just tons of different games on them.
yeah. And I've had some of those, but it was like only like 100 games on each one, maybe. And it
Yeah,
was just like Mario and like shit that like I thought, like it's fun to play for a second, but then you get over it real quick.
yeah,
This one has like endless. Like I was like the list of games as I was scrolling through the list, it was like too long for me to like scroll through the entire thing. I just like saw that it had like remember that like arcade game Sunset Riders? Did you like the Cowboys?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that shit's on there. Like I mean, it's gonna be tight.
Yeah, a lot of like
And I got four
Metal
controls.
Slug and all that stuff.
Yeah, Metal Slug's on there.
Of course, it has to. It's gonna have all the classics. See, I went like next level, and I've got systems, so I have emulators on my computer, so I can download like any Dreamcast game, Xbox game, any
Dreamcast.
PlayStation 3 game, 2, 1, and download them for free, and then play them on like my this crazy glowing machine next to me has all everything. So I'll play Dave Mirra BMX 2, and I'm playing it, and I can up the graphics, so I'll be playing it in like 4K, and it looks wild as shit. Super
That's
nerdy
crazy.
stuff, but yeah, like, and because I wanted to be able to do it, I was like, I know I can, and so I went crazy, man, during lockdown. I built computers and was like doing all sorts of wild shit because I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah,
Um,
I just drank to myself to like severe anxiety and depression, and then had to go to like residential therapy for like 2 months. Okay.
just so you know, if you want to feel better, you're still feeling that way, let me know. I can give you the address. It's just a nominal fee of $75, and that NRA's tactical desert backpack can be yours too.
Well, yeah. I mean, is it triple spaced?
Dude, this letter's wild, but I like the fact that there's two, well, I guess like two bullet point paragraphs about this backpack. One of them in bold, and the other one having the words "heavy duty" in all caps. And like I'm saying, like it's not spaced correctly. This thing is wild. I'm gonna send you a picture of it later.
Okay. All right, let's start it off with therapy questions, as we do. Just therapy question number one: how would you act if all of your memories were wiped away?
I have no idea. I mean, that would be completely different because like your memories kind of determine and make up who you are. So to take all of those things away, if you had no memories, you'd almost be a blank slate, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you'd
But
be
I
like
mean,
super
but
impressionable.
this is what I practice. Like speaking of that therapy that I went to, it was like some real Buddhist shit, and I learned about getting in the present. And Eckhart Tolle was like, he's like, uh, don't like think about the past because it doesn't exist. Don't think about the future because it doesn't exist. And then so this kind of like he's like, imagine if you like had no memory and you had no possessions at all, what would you do then? So I've already kind of thought about this, and I try to like you know remember not to remember, like because you're not like the story in your head, and um it's fucking liberating, bro.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you try to live in the present, but I mean, there's certain things that like you would be completely different, you know? Like I guess if you that's like letting go of all anxieties and insecurities, because if you don't have those memories, you're not going to have those things or those hurdles that you would have, you know?
Yeah, you can't dwell on shit, like otherwise you're fucked. But I mean, but you can still learn from like past mistakes.
Well, you
Which,
should. You
yeah,
should. Yeah.
yeah. I mean that's just like a normal human thing to do. You know.
What is it? Smart people learn from their mistakes. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others. So you should like obviously like be aware of your surroundings, but that's where it's like you need to make having. If I were to not have my memories, I don't know exactly what I would be. I probably wouldn't like myself that much. I don't because I don't know how I'd turn out, and that'd be like a roll of the dice. So I'd rather keep my like perspective and my understanding and those like good memories, bad or good. People ask me that all the time, like, oh, being adopted. They'll ask me if you could be, not adopted, would you do that? And I'm like, well, no, that's like a dumb question. Like that's like I wouldn't want that because I don't even know what that life would be like. There's so many unknowns about that. It wouldn't make any sense. And I view life like that in general as well. Even if it's mistakes I've made, good things that have happened to me, positive, negative, whatever. It's important that I have those experiences so I can grow from them and become better.
Yeah,
Than not have them at all.
It's like the devil that is better than the devil you don't know, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that you could have. Like, we've known each other for an extremely long time, and there's, we've both changed a lot since we were younger. But I know people that have not changed like at all. Like, and it's not necessarily in some ways they're enabled to be that way, and lots of other factors can play into that. But you should be trying to become the best version of yourself and using what the environment around you and previous experiences to achieve that, not just to hang out and be stagnant and chill because you're comfy and you're enabled to do that.
But I mean, kind of how you said, like, you don't have really any, no regrets because like that's just how life transpired. It's like, so therefore, and like when you're standing in the present, it's like, don't think about like stuff that you like that didn't go your way like back in the day, and then like make it like a part of your like daily mantra, because like you hear the voice in your head more than anybody else's voice. So you got to be like nice to your fucking self and don't like beat yourself up over like maybe like a perceived mistake or like some negative thing that happened. You got to just, it's like you have like all you have is what's going on right now, and if you stay like in that present, then you're gonna be a lot happier, in my opinion.
All right, well, yeah, there's this, what is it, it's this like church passage. I just watched Midnight Mass, which was wild, and super creepy, and if you haven't watched it, whatever. But there's this whole part where this guy is trying to convince these people, and he says like all this crazy fucked up shit's gone down, and he's a like a father, like a priest, he's Monsieur, whatever, and he's talking about how like, oh Lord, forgive me for the things that I cannot change or something, because just give me, allow me to change the things that I can, basically using some biblical, like,
that's like alcoholic.
Yeah, it was like, and it was like convincing people, and then come to find out this bitch a vampire, like some wild ass shit. Super but it makes me think about that. There's certain things I can't do anything about, so to dwell on them or beat myself up past a certain extent, I should learn from them and recognize those patterns or things that would lead me down those paths. But you can't dwell on everything for forever. If you do, you'll just be upset. You're holding on to stuff. Positive, like you said, or meditating for you, positive motivation. That was a big thing for me. And taking my memories and not using those memories and growing from them in a positive way, not using them in some spiteful way that I needed to do good or achieve this or do that to stick it to people. That's not like the right way. And that was a period of my like 20s, my mid 20s, where it was like, all right, I got to be as successful as I can, do everything that I can because people told me I couldn't, and I want to rub it in their face. And that gets
that's
really
not the worst.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that gets old. You can't do that for forever because you're only going to be able to get so much motivation before, if you do succeed and achieving those goals, like then what? You haven't learned how to just be happy and be self-motivated. It's still external. It's not coming internally. It's anger. You're putting out negative energy, and you've learned to channel that to achieve goals, but that doesn't mean you can do that for forever. You start making.
I mean, like Michael Jordan would make shit up.
Yeah,
like,
no, and
to get like an edge.
No,
and I kind of do that too.
Yeah, but Michael Jordan, and while he's great, he's also revered as like, while he was great at motivating people and pushing people, he doesn't have a lot of close relationships with people, because some of them, how he treated those people, there's irreparable damage done to that. He turned some of those people into enemies because he needed one. Whenever if that's how you're going to be motivated in life, you always need to be fighting something or someone, and you can just be motivated and find other challenges that are healthier, like having some sort of spiteful edge all the time. While it can be good in certain circumstances, and it should be more of a switch that you can turn and turn off in business. Your business model can't be based off of spite. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because if you do, like, you're going to run out of that, or you're going to create conflict where there's none because you've already won. So then who's telling you can't do anything? You have to make people doubt you. Or, like, you know what I'm saying? Or, like, convince yourself that they do. That works way more in sports, in like an individual or like a competitive team sport, than it does in like being motivated in your life to hope to come out happy in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I should take your advice, but like definitely, like when I was, in my last job again, like I would just come up with shit. Like somebody be up on me like $10, like on the sales summary, and I'm like, "Fuck you! I'm coming for your ass!" Like, like.
Well, and that's true, but that's competitively driven. That's an individual thing. So that's what I'm saying. Like I think it's easier. It's harder to be a quarterback than it is to be a starting pitcher in the MLB. But if I had to pick one, I'd rather be a starting pitcher, because you can control the entire game by yourself. Quarterback relies on too many parts that you can't be nearly as big of an asshole as you can if you're like Randy Johnson or you're Curt Schilling. You can create a video game and rip a bunch of fucking people off and still be like borderline Hall of Fame as Curt Schilling. Or I think he is in the Hall of Fame because you play great.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Because of his individual accolades, and he, besides winning at the end, he was kind of not like a bust, but he could throw some heat, but he wasn't anything a world beater as a pitcher. He played for the Phillies. You should know that.
I know, dude. I was just gonna mention it. I was like,
yeah, it's twisted.
He was our boy on the Phillies. And then
he was always hurt.
And then he went to the Red Sox, and then won a World Series, became a douchebag.
Well, he also won with the Diamondbacks too, because he was on that Diamondbacks with Randy Johnson. That's and then he had the bloody sock thing, and it's like, oh, look at how tough he is. But he was a big old wuss the whole time.
But he had like a blister on his ankle, and everybody wants us to think like his.
And then he made a game that had like a random person who was gonna buy it would get $1 million. And you got look this shit up. You get $1 million, and they ended up like ripping everybody off. The company went under. He filed for bankruptcy. He had to pay all this like these fines and shit. And somehow you'll still see him on like the MLB Network talking about pitchers. But it's
you also see like Rod and Big Papi.
But what I'm saying is like you like, but like sales is, but like being in sales or even in real estate on like a real estate team is way more like being in a bullpen. You want to be the ace. You want to be the top dude. We all get success together, and we all want to win. But I want the best whip. I want the best ERA. I want all the best stats because I'm the best, and I want the biggest slice of the pie. And a quarterback, you're going to get it de facto, but you got to be way more of like all right, guys, we got to get this shit together. We got to do that shit. I'm just saying, and so that can work in business that way, but in like team building or managing large groups of people, I was
going to say, like a quarterback's more like a manager.
Yeah, you're going to end up running off good employees because you turn them into an enemy because you think they're coming for your job. Or you've convinced yourself, and all that person is doing is working hard. You should be motivated to train that person so you can get promoted, and that dude can fill your spot. And then you've also built up some trust and loyalty with a subordinate from promoting within. So that's all I'm saying is like in my life experience, it was really easy to like manage clubs and do all that and like make good money and have that attitude. But once I was doing other stuff, it didn't really service me that well, and it created more friction with other people that were at my level, never really people above, because they always appreciate that person, but it made it difficult to manage a large group of people because I was pissing them off, because I was kind of being a dick and turning them into enemies when all they wanted to do was work hard, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I agree. And like both like the corporations I've worked for, since I became an adult, like that wasn't like a restaurant job. Like I was like the new guy, you know. Like even though like the last job I was like there for 4 years and I was still the newest person hired. And so to me it's like, like I had that chip on my shoulder to like prove myself. But I agree if I was like the manager or managing a team, like but I got along with everybody, it was just like shit like that
But
I
even
was.
then, yeah, but even then, it's like a competitive thing. Like I said,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
board is representative of y'all as a team, and you're at one team that's going up against another team. So there's individual goals, and then there's like region or state or,
Yeah, exactly,
sister
yeah.
store or whatever. But whenever it's like, okay, like this is our gang, like this is our squad, and you should always be looking for your replacement or looking to move up from within. And like, but if you're going to be trying to do that, I'm just saying, from me and my experience having that chip on my shoulder as I got more into team building, I noticed that I would have obstacles with some good employees, and I never understood why I got pushback. But it was way more about how I was choosing to go about and
Like
communicating and delegating things, and how I was pushing people. And sometimes I would do it, but I was pushing them, and I was creating a problem when there didn't need to be, because I needed that problem so that I could take the next step and be motivated, because I needed somebody telling me I couldn't, or somebody trying to impede my way, because I didn't know how to just do it,
yeah.
because I was so mad for so long,
Yeah, I hear you. Angry black quarterback
Yeah, yeah,
coming
yeah, yeah,
coming out soon.
yeah.
All right, so let's move on to therapy question number 2, y'all. What kind of impact would a significant increase in life expectancy have on humanity? Let's say like people could just live around like to their 500 years old.
We would leave the planet and we would go to other planets, and like you'd see some sort of alien type shit. There's only two outcomes: either we figure out some way to create life on, like, not create life, but in some ways, if we're gonna terraform, as you love how I always say, another planet, or go to the habitable zone of somewhere else, we would have to leave this planet. We'd have to figure that shit out. 500 years would be a life expectancy of a person. If it took us like 1,000 years to fly to a planet in the habitable zone, that's like 2 generations. You could like send up, some older people, some younger people. People would be fucking in space and having kids, but we would have to figure that out, because we'd run out of resources. Or we don't leave this planet and we destroy it, and we run out of resources, and everyone goes, and the human race goes extinct, and then the planet takes itself back, and then in like
Well,
50
like
million years there's life again, and it's not like us probably.
it's like women have like a biological clock. So does that extend if we are living for 500 years?
Well, yeah, if
Because
you're
then
yeah.
it might not really like. I guess people wouldn't be dying, but you wouldn't necessarily be having more and more kids just because you can live for 500 years when you can't really have a kid. Like,
But you also got to think it's like a cause and effect. So let's say we don't figure out how to leave this planet. Life expectancy goes up. Women are able to have children for longer, and everyone lives longer. And we're running out of resources on this planet. Then like there's just going to be more people that are involved in war. People are just going to people will become more of a currency than they are now if there's an abundance of them. Because they'll just be, oh, well, we'll send 50 million people to go fight this war because no one cares, because we have 50 million more and everyone lives for 500 years. So if you signed up for military service, it wouldn't be like 4 years, it'd be 40 or 50 or 100 years. People would sign up for the military for 250 years to get those benefits, because your life would be expanded, right? So like everything would be expanded. They'd want that service to be expanded. Like that'd be like that. The ripple effect would either be super positive and like, oh, we got to leave this planet, because that's pretty much what would have to happen, because it would just, we're already, I mean, it would be so, it'd be so dense on population density. We'd have to figure out ways for more water. It'd be nuts. People would be living in the desert. Homies living in the desert. Just they'd be building houses in the sand dunes in the sand dunes in the Sahara, because they'd have to. They'd be running out of space.
yeah, but like
So we start a construction company.
how hot? Yeah, in the metaverse.
Yeah.
Like Moses from the
Millennial construction. It'll last you a lifetime. Let's go.
Moses from the Bible was 900. Lived till he was 900 years old. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I saw somebody they were interviewing people at that big ark, The
Well, that's
big, the
Noah. That's
yeah.
Noah.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Noah was 600.
I think yeah, he was like yeah, he's in the hundreds as well. Stupid.
Yeah,
But
Noah was 600, I believe.
oh man, what a dumb book. Um,
What do you think though? Do you think I can't see? It's either positive or negative. There's no like
I think
middle road.
I think it's probably negative, but at the same time, like you just adjust your expectations. Like, I mean, like our, like people aren't having as many kids as they used to, and they're having them later in life. So maybe like eventually you would just adjust, be like, yeah, I'm living to 500. Like, I don't need to like knock out like 10 kids. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I'm gonna have
500,
kids when
500 is
I'm
a
a
lot, but I guess I mean it's all perspective. I think.
well, because if
Like, who,
everything stays the same, like because aging would aging change, or would you like stay your peak self for a
I
long
don't.
period of time,
That
or would you just like
that
keep shriveling and then like everyone looks like the Crypt Keeper? Because that would be scary. There's so
that
many.
would suck. Yeah, yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
There's so many outcomes. They're all very petrifying.
But like there was a point in time when like the average lifespan was like 30, and now it's 75, 80. So it's like, if
Facts,
you
facts.
ask people when they were 30, or when the lifespan was like till you were 30, like what if you could like double your lifspan? But they probably would have the same, you know like, oh, that sounds weird.
They'd probably think you were like they're demons. They wouldn't even believe that was possible.
Exactly. And I don't believe 500 is possible, but they do say that the first person to live to they were 150 years old is already born. So we're getting there, bro.
That's scary. It's gonna
That's
be. It's
crazy.
probably gonna be someone who sucks too.
I
It's
hope
not
it's
gonna.
not me. I hope it's not me.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to live that. 150.
I mean, unless like there's some like
That's
real
some
like
vampire shit, dude. And I get to like be young and be like Blade or something, and get like a cool duster and
right.
go to the Asian lifestyle store at the mall. Buy me, dude. This place is wild. Asian lifestyles. It's just swords, big Dragon Ball Z figurines, and like Lucky Cats, and
And
that's
like
it.
incense.
Yeah, and it's in Grapevine Mills. It's in Grapevine Mills Mall, and it's called Asian Lifestyles, and it's
I
amazing.
used I used to steal little miniature Buddhas from that store.
Oh no
Um,
way! You did that, man? Come on, they're nice there, man. Asian
I have
Lifestyles
one
for
on
life.
I have one on the counter of my bathroom right now that I stole when we were like 14 from that store.
All right, that's lit though. At least you still have it, so that's good.
And I also have like a tiki mask, but I actually bought that for like way too much money.
Yeah, dude.
Uh,
Asian Lifestyles for life.
okay, yeah. So we're done with therapy questions, and our new segment that we started last week. It's gonna be Mr. Goody's rant. Mr. Goody good takes. Um, so my rant is
Mr. Goody Good Takes.
that's right, homie. Um, why can't water be transferred via a pipeline? Now, like, I just wanted to kick it off. Like, Kentucky is having one of the worst flooding incidences in like the history of that state. There's like definitely as long as anybody's been alive, a lot of people have died. Hundreds of homes have been like smashed, and like Houston and Florida, or like Louisiana, are like too familiar with that kind of thing. Yet, where I live in California, we can't get like a single drop of rain. Like we're like running out of water like at a ridiculous pace. Like you can't even like water your lawn except for I think it's twice a week, and it has to be like at night. And it's insanity. And it's like, well, we can ship oil like from Canada down to the Gulf of like Mexico in a pipeline. We can ship like liquefied natural gas from the United States to Europe or from Russia to Germany, but we can't ship water like to places that have way too much to places that have none. That seems fucking stupid, and I don't understand like who's like the one who's like cock blocking us on like transferring water from one state to another. But feels like somebody is, because it seems like that would be easy. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've never thought about it that way, but that totally makes sense. Like, if there was a way to pick up all of that water and transport it somewhere else. So that sounds like a good idea. They say if you can figure out a way to have an energy efficient way to desalinize ocean water, you would be the richest man in the world. Because then you would solve the water. You would solve the water crisis, and they can, but it's just completely. You have to burn so much energy to do it that it's not even worth it. It's not even efficient.
It actually is. Well, Israel. Shout out. I know you'd be listening. They, I think, get like some crazy percentage, like 40-50% of their water is from desalination.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty lit. Well, I mean, I mean, then there must be doing something. But I know that
I don't think it's ocean water. It might be pee. Urine.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. If you could do it with ocean water, if you could desalinize ocean water. But yeah, no, that's a good point. Like, I don't really understand why we can't do that or why they haven't turned it in that direction. I'm sure that would dip into somebody's pockets or insurance companies' pockets or something like that. Also, logistically,
insurance companies though, like they have to pay out all like when disasters happen, like So why,
Well, yeah, they do, but it depends because like
they're just not. They're not like innovative,
But this is where they're smart. Is because like use Houston as an example. Whenever there was the last big flooding in Houston, there was lots of people who to live in certain areas, especially in Texas, in Houston, in the foothills and stuff like that. You have to live in hill country. I'm sorry, the foothills. There's no fucking mountains out here, but to live in certain areas, you have to have flood insurance. So your house has to be insured for floods for you to live in that house. It's illegal for you to not have flood insurance because it's a high flood zone. The last time there was that flooding in Houston, what fucked a lot of people and what made it really bad is the floods went in areas where people didn't have to have flood insurance. So if you were like 6 streets over, you had to on this portion of the neighborhood. But everybody else never had any flooding, never had to deal with it. That area is all zoned out and mapped out. So all of those homes are people who got displaced, who lost everything, and they had no insurance. So they charge people a higher premium and a higher price to live in those flood zone areas.
But then they have to pay them out. And so if this keeps happening over and over and over again, like insurance companies might lose. But I mean, they have like
true, but they're gonna...
and they probably figure out and then insurance companies have insurance. It's like there's literally insurance companies that insure insurance companies. So that's trippy.
And then where they make their money is insuring the whole neighborhood, but only half of them are paying higher premiums, and they're going to raise their rates, and the other people get kicked out of the house.
I know, but like, just turn on the fucking spigot and get your goddamn
You'd have to have some sort of like drain HVAC system throughout all cities and like flatland areas that would just suck it up. Whenever it reached a certain level, they could activate it. It would just open it.
Yeah, open it and just boom, straight to like the desert, like California, Arizona, Nevada.
So just like irrigation, like some aqueducts.
We figured aqueducts out like 2,000 years ago. We can't figure this shit out.
We didn't figure out
the fucking Romans or whatever, the Greeks,
the guys in the cloths.
Oh yeah,
they invented Caesar salad.
Yeah, and like gay sex.
But hey, man, somebody come up with that. With that plan, and let's get that shit done. That sounds cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an engineer, but it feels like it would be easy, but apparently not.
I'll ask my nephew. Shout out, little 2.0. I'll ask him, bro. Dude, he's been getting into betting, and you need to chat with him. This kid is wild. So he's engineering student. He used to play college football. He's been staying with me for the summer. It's been awesome, and he's really into betting on baseball and all that stuff. He's making this big algorithm spreadsheet that predicts all the odds for all these different sports for himself because he's really good on like Excel and with numbers. So I'm gonna start placing bets. I think I'm gonna turn like my nephew into my bookie. I think that's
I'm Mr. Bookie Two Shoes, bro.
I don't know, man. He's gonna have like an engineering degree.
I got spreadsheets.
I don't know, man. And
I've got a list of every single bet I've placed in the last 13 years. In a spreadsheet.
I don't know, man. You're an old gun. I might go with the young gun, the young up and comer, man. I have to. He's family. He's family. No, yeah, he's family.
He's playing broke ball while I'm over here playing money ball, homie.
Do you do baseball? Because he's real into betting on baseball.
Dude, I bet on the All-Star game and won.
No, he bets daily. He sits there and bets daily. He does daily
Yeah,
baseball
well,
bets. Oh no.
I mean that's tough. That could be a problem.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
no, that's what I told him. I was like, "Are you okay? Like, do you need
like
help?"
if
And then I was like, "Are you up? Because if so, like, here's a couple G's.
said, I
Bring me
bet on
back some."
I bet on presidential elections, homie. I bet on golf, like but I picked my spots.
Yeah, I think any day that ends in a Y is his spot. Which touche.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, but I mean, he's mostly messing with his algorithms and stuff. So he pays us like $1.50 bets, $2 bets, $5 bets. Because he went down and he places more because he's like testing stuff out. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I'm similar. Like I will throw a shit ton of money on like an options play, like in the stock market, like $1,100 or something. But like with like sports betting, I'm like pretty like mild. It's like $10, $15.
All right,
I
well,
do go.
he's gonna have a spot on Angry Black Quarterback where we're gonna have him talk about betting. I think we do Mr. Goody and 2.0's picks, and you guys both give your gambling picks for the week, and then we recap and see who did better.
Oh, I'm down.
Yeah,
I'm
all
ready.
right. I'll talk to him. I'll ask him. I'm
But
sure he'll be down.
what if we have the same pick though?
And that's fine. Then it's a push. Whatever.
Okay. Push into the bush. You know what I'm saying?
Go. I mean, maybe we do your betting picks and then your picks. So you'll be like, because maybe you think somebody's gonna win, but you think the other team's gonna cover. Maybe they're gonna cover the spread. So maybe we do two sets of picks. Your
Yeah,
bets.
that's probably too sophisticated for your little nephew.
Nah, man, I don't know, dude. He's pretty smart. He's a pretty
I'm
smart
already
kid.
talking shit.
Yeah, dude. He's watching right now. So he's like, fuck you.
It's called talk shit to get off the pod, homie.
That's true. He's just a nice kid.
Yeah, I'm the angry white running back. All right, you want to go? You want to start us off with the current events?
Yeah, so I started these. These were for the Monday episode, and then like I read them, and I'm gonna try to remember them as I try to skim through, read them again. This one is from July 20th. It's a Bloomberg, your favorite technology section. EU rules on messaging apps raise alarms on personal privacy. So it seems like Europe's been doing some wild shit, man. They're making everybody like what iPhones have to have the same chargers as Androids. They have to be Type C. They're doing all these things to make things uniform. And I think they're doing the same from what I remember from this article, making it to where if you have an Android phone, you can iMessage, making everything be able to communicate with each other and knock down the walls of exclusivity. Where like if you don't have an iPhone, I can't see your stupid iMessage thing, or you can't see my stupid Android thing, or I think they're trying to knock down the walls of that, but I think they're saying there's some sort of issues with it long term in things being sold and swapped or
Yeah, I mean that's the genius of Apple was that, like they from like the bottom up, it's like it's exclusively like they created their own type of plug, like where it wasn't like, universal. Where what they actually did just change it. I didn't know if it was Europe. I thought they just decided. So on this new
no, it
iPhone,
was Europe. No, it was EU. It was like you have to do this. They like ruled. It was
well,
like
they
if
did,
you,
they did do it. Like so, this
yeah, they
next
didn't have a choice. Yeah,
yeah, this next iPhone that comes out is it's the mini USB. I think is what it is instead of the Lightning, uh, whatever that one is.
yeah,
The current
whatever the
one.
fuck. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Which I embrace because like, I've got like, just stupid shit like where I'm just like like, I would like to plug in like, somewhere and it's just like, oh, you need like the actual Apple thing. It's like fuck.
here's
But
I have 7 chargers here. Like yeah, I have an
yeah,
iPhone charger. I think like in my drawer somewhere. So if someone's ever like, "Do you have one?" and I have tons of other chargers, but if you don't have that one. So that's nice that they're making them universal, but I guess this one's talking about how there's big security risks and opening up the
that
messaging app
that that
services and stuff like that.
that's a fucking Apple talking point. It's like they don't want like it was like, remember we were talking about the Epic Games
Yeah.
like lawsuit, and it was like they were saying like that they need to like be able to scrutinize any company that wants to get into the App Store because of security reasons. And I think in America like recently there's like now like like that doesn't make any sense. Like everybody should have access to the App Store, otherwise it's a fucking monopoly.
Yeah, there was definitely. I feel like they've gotten some good publicity of as of late when it came to cell phones being confiscated and then being like, well, no, that's it's their and not opening stuff and being like difficult. I can't remember who.
That was the San Bernardino,
Yeah,
the couple that had the mass shooting.
Yeah, the mass shooting
And
that had the phone. Yes, yeah.
The FBI wanted they got a hold of their phone and they wanted Apple to unlock it, and Apple said no, which was a little bit controversial.
But what I'm saying is, for some people, that was like, well, they're protecting people's privacy.
No, I know. I took
and then that's like a time. But then even in that moment, like it seems like whenever they're trying to protect privacy or do something, they're always on like not on like the wrong side of the coin. So in this time, they're like, well, no, I don't want people to be able to send iMessages from other stuff. What about security? And then they're like, hey man, we really need to get in this phone. We're the FBI. We need to check this shit out because this person's done a bunch of crazy stuff and we need the info. Sorry man, it's all about privacy. It's like,
yeah, except for like, I think Apple has it's like 50% of their business is outside of the United States, and like they're making concessions for like China and like like
they make mad
Russia.
Concessions because
yeah.
what is it like iPhones make up 30% of the world market, like phones, like on the phone network, so they're a third, but Android based phones are the other 70%. So in other countries where Android dominates, you best believe Apple makes concessions to just get a slice of the market because there's people that come out with stuff that's cheaper, faster, closer to where they are. So like if they're getting at something from Apple, that's like they're going to be paying more, so they'd much rather, like you said, they make concessions. That's the reason why they're doing this universal plug, is because the EU's making them, not because they want to, but because if they want to do business there, they have to, because they're fucking up the, I can't remember exactly how it was worded, but I find it rich when they're like, oh well, what about privacy? It's like, dude, WhatsApp, what are you talking about? WhatsApp, you can just download the app. You don't have to, it doesn't matter what fucking phone you have. So WhatsApp's not worried about like what everybody uses like, well, yeah, and it's encrypted. So what I'm saying is they're bringing up WhatsApp for security, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like that's on every platform. So it's not exclusive to iPhone or exclusive to Android. So you're kind of full of shit because that's not the case with that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, I generally like Apple as a company. It seems like that they're pretty thoughtful, other than like the Chinese factories that they have, and like what's going on there.
Other than like the massive human rights violations they do from time to time, they're solid.
Right.
Shout out Apple Car coming soon. Let's go.
I mean, they're not Facebook, like they seem like a little bit more conscientious about what they're doing, but maybe not. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean the EU, like they've like, at least in the like, since I've been paying attention, so like the last like 10 years or something, like they always like are like ahead of us on like smart regulations. Like,
oh, most definitely. That's what I was about to say, is if we have any hope to break up some of this crazy company shit and all this dark money and stuff, antitrust, anti-union stuff, it's gonna be this group. We come from there. That's where we're gonna get the model, and we're gonna see some of these companies break to the will of what they want to do business there, because that's still a really big market. And then we'll see ripple effects coming where we might be able to see something. That's what I'm saying. No one in America asks them to change. People have brought it up, but no one's demanded that they change the charge port. But somebody's saying like, if you don't do it, then get the fuck out, and then they change it instantly. It's because they had no choice. So we'll see. I mean, it's interesting. Like, shout out to you. Fuck Boris Johnson. That guy's a douche.
He's not Boris Johnson wasn't in the EU, man. Brexit.
No, I know. That's what I'm. Well, pretty much since Brexit, they've gotten a lot more shit done and have been able to make more headway without stupid obstacles like that ass hat.
True. I just did see like the other day that I think it's like there's 19 countries in the EU, or like that use the euro or something, one or the other. I'm not too educated on the European Union. However, collectively, those 19 countries that use the euro, like as their main currency, are like combined are would be the 5th largest economy in the world. Well, guess who's actually the fifth largest economy in the world.
Oh no, California.
That's right.
Yeah, whatever.
That's
dude.
right. Well, we're a nation state, homie.
Yeah, that's fine. Texas has got a pretty big one too. Not as
No,
big. Not as big
no.
as. No, I know. It's not as big. It's all right.
Small dick energy out there.
Hey, man, watch out, dude. Don't make me come find you. Um,
SDE.
Article number 2. This
Go for
is for another Bloomberg Business Week. This is Solutions in Good Business is the section. It's from July 19th. It's a Philadelphia startup is building houses in Ghana and New Guinea for African Emirates. This was interesting because, first of all, shout out Ghana Black Stars, whenever they had the World Cup in Africa. That was like arguably my favorite World Cup, and Ghana Black Stars were fucking badass. I think they beat Team USA and then lost the next round, or did we beat?
That was your favorite?
That was a good World Cup, even though we haven't made it that far in the World Cup since.
Yeah. Well, I mean, ask the women.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about the men's team. The women dominate. It's always like Germany, Japan, the U.S., Brazil, Mexico. There's Spain. There's like a short list.
Yeah, I think it's shorter than that.
Yeah, well, I'm just, I'm trying. We got a lot of listeners. We got a lot of listeners around the world. I'm trying to include, those are countries that listen to us.
That's true.
So watch out, dude. Also shout out. And didn't Sweden and Norway just join the EU?
Sweden and Finland.
So shout out Sweden. And
I think
Finland.
they're still working out the paperwork, but everybody agreed to it. Like Turkey was holding it up, and then they came to terms with it. So it's got the green light, but I'm not sure if it's official.
So shout out. But yeah, man, Ghana Black Stars all day. I used to use them in FIFA all the time. So this is a Philadelphia startup, and they are like straight up building homes. I don't want to mess up the name, but Hawaii. Starting to build a house in his native homeland in New York's Harlem. The residents of New York's Harlem neighborhood couldn't stop thinking about other Africans that she knows. So she decided to start building homes over there. And what's interesting about the project is it's also creating generational wealth. So it's not just creating for one group. Their family structure is a little bit different over there. I think they value family a little bit more than we potentially do in the U.S. From time to time. So, they're building, I think it's 40,000 and then 42,000 for installments. These people are getting houses for 100,000 or less who don't have anything close to that, and it's really cool because it's someone who's immigrated to this country and now lives in Philly and started to start up building. It's like, what's it? Who is it? Akon brought a bunch of did a bunch of like $1 billion worth of like power and stuff renovations in Africa in his home country. So it's
also like the guy that we were talking about who's doing affordable housing out in South LA.
Yeah, for like a fraction of the pie.
Sola.
Yeah, and just basically, and that guy was cool. I don't know if y'all that's like 2 episodes ago. Y'all should check it out. But he was doing. He figured out a way to build like nice housing with good appliances for these families, and they were paying essentially able to pay for these homes and pay their rent or mortgages or whatever with their government assistance. So it was really, really cool.
So yeah, that's what this sounds like. It's cool that it's like the birthplace of our nation, Philadelphia, and then Africa, like that. It's international.
Yeah, it's raising people who work hard enough to earn an affordable home, but don't have any sensible affordable housing, or there's nothing that's built there. And as true for anywhere, there's like definitely a lot of corruption depending on like what part of like where you are in Africa and like what. There's still dictators that roam around. There's other parts of Africa that are complete and total civil war. So
don't listen to that, Egypt. We're not talking about you.
No, but I'm just being honest. Africa's a big continent. But there's a lot of turmoil.
Egypt listens.
It's just
they might be being run by a dictator.
Yeah,
right.
but
that's right, Sisi.
I guess I just appreciate I've seen so many documentaries, and I've always been, enthralled with just Africa in general and its history. And so there's, it has a history of exploitation by pretty much everybody around the world. China invests a shit ton in Africa right now,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is what like
The Belt Road Initiative.
yeah, which is like what we don't do. And they have a lot of natural resources and gold and lithium and all sorts of things that's what people have always exploited Africa for. So it's cool.
Russia's doing that right now.
Yeah,
They're
no,
taking
Russia.
all the gold from Sudan and just stealing it to fund this war in Ukraine. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
And then I heard yesterday that the Democratic Republic of Congo,
yeah,
when you have to say you're the Democratic Republic, you know, probably not. Um, they have these like lands where it's like kind of like a swamp area, but it holds in carbon like twice as much as like any other forest like on planet, and they're now going to start auctioning them off like for oil drilling. So it's like whoa shit, bro. Like
oh
we
yeah.
got we got to pay them off like so they don't do shit like that. Like
Well, and there's incentivization for some of those people to take those payouts, but it's cool to see someone do something like it's like we talked about with the housing. I mean, I know I've not picked a couple articles like this, but I always try to highlight something that's positive and
yeah,
something that's given back. And this is definitely just another one. It's like good-hearted people who really want to make a difference have chosen a path for themselves and made a difference in their own lives, and have enough like perspective to look back and want to do something for those for where they came from. That's super great. I mean, that's what we want from people, and to and obviously it's a business, so obviously
yeah,
I'm
but
sure there's
cool.
some, but it's cool if you're able to make a positive impact in somebody's life
And still make money.
and make money and continually do that for yourself. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
And
Like that's the sweet spot. That's the Goldilocks, spot. It's like where everybody wins.
yeah, exactly, and that's that's in some ways, and that sounds super corny, but that's like literally that's like the American dream. Like that's kind of like what that, not to pull on some heartstring shit or sound corny, but that's like what that's about. I think that's what life is about in general, is getting if you can do something for someone or help somebody out or have a positive impact and it takes nothing away from you, like why wouldn't you do that? And some people are smart and they're real business savvy and they make money doing that as well, but that's at the end of the day they're having a positive impact and leaving a good footprint in the world whenever they're here, not here, whatever. And I think that's kind of what this shit's all about. So that's kind of our good
Yeah.
feel good thing for the day. Do you want to? I'll start it, but I want you to talk about it first because you live out there. And lately if you guys watch the news, there's all sorts of crazy January 6th stuff, which we'll get into in a little bit. But Biden has been appointing judges, and he appointed another one, I think, today. But Biden nominates 3 judges to federal courts in California. So he's nominated 3 judges to federal courts. And if you, that's kind of been the long con, before I let you go, Andy. The long con of the Republican Party was start small and work your way up, and they started replacing judges and getting people in positions to fill other spots and move up the ranks, and that's where the Republican Party was smart. So I think Trump appointed how many judges? It was something insane.
More than every other fucking president.
Yeah, more than any president ever of all time, and they kind of wanted it that way. So Biden's not going to appoint nearly as many as him, but this is the beginning. We saw him do Supreme Court justice. Now we're seeing him do some federal judges. He did a First Circuit Court judge that was the woman who represented the abortion clinic or the healthcare clinic against the state of Mississippi in the case, the Supreme Court justice case that got overturned by the Supreme Court. That woman who was leading the legal arguments for that clinic was appointed to, I think today, to a First Circuit federal judge as
Great.
well. Yeah.
So she's a loser.
No, I think right now with the way that our social climate is going and the way we're seeing these courts do and the Supreme Court justice is doing, having a woman that's pro that in that position, it falls in line with these 3 that you're about to talk about. I'll shut up now.
Oh, I mean, all I have to say is like I'm 100% on the record saying we need to pack the federal court system, like the Supreme Court and every fucking like appellate court, like and down the line everywhere. So 3 sounds weak to me. It should be like fucking 300. Like pack the fucking courts. Like straight up. That's literally what Republicans did. and they act like they didn't. It's like Trump appointed the most federal judges of like any fucking president in one term ever, and then he stole a seat on the Supreme Court, and then hit him with two other ones. So now we have like the open carry like ban in New York is like now like against the Constitution. So you're allowed to just carry a gun in New York, like even though it hasn't been allowed for like 50 fucking years.
Yeah, dude. Plaxico
like,
Burress went to jail for nothing.
He like shot himself.
And then went to federal prison for nothing.
Exactly. And yeah, and then
bro, he was an eagle killer too. He was an Eagles killer for sure. God damn. Yeah, no, he put it on us.
Man, I don't know.
No, but that's true though. Like the way like what is it? We have one Supreme Court justice per circuit, but now we have more circuits than we have Supreme Court justices. So we should have like 13 Supreme Court justices.
Well, there is no. It's not in the Constitution how many justices on the Supreme Court in the United States there needs to be.
No, I know we just used to have one per. Yeah, but we used to have one per.
Yeah. But FDR did try to pack the court back in like the 1940s, and the political like it didn't work out for like him politically. Like not that he lost his spot, but I think the Democrats got their asses kicked like in the midterms or something.
Yeah, that's.
But I don't give a fuck, because once we have, like the justices on there, like right now it's 6-3 Republicans, and like 3 of them just got like appointed on the conservative side, like in the last like 2-3 years or 4 years or whatever. It's like it's fucked up.
Well, see, and this is where people say like, oh, Ruth Bader Ginsburg should have retired before, so then he could have filled that seat, and then that would have been different, and that's fine. But see, this is where it's different. Is so if there's people that are up for retirement in the next like 10 years, if some of those, like, we'll see some of these people. I fucking bet you if the Republicans win the 2014 election or 2024 election, you're going to see Clarence Thomas retire, and you're going to see them replace that seat permanently. You're going to see some of these people that are stoked in controversy Alito is going to fucking retire and dip.
No, he's not, dude. See, both of those guys are so fucking arrogant. And
they are, but they're
shitty.
But they are. But
they would not take one for the team like that. I don't think.
I think that they would, because they're so steeped and there's so much outcry for them to be gone. I think they would step down if they can get some other people that are loyal. I think they could convince them to. I think they could.
Nah, dude. They like jerking off to themselves like as a Supreme Court justice too much. Like and then it's Justice Roberts, who's like the Chief Justice, and then besides those 3, the other 3 just got appointed and are like kind of like relatively young for like a justice. So
yeah,
I mean there's only one way out of here, bro, and it's fucking add 4 more Supreme Court justices right now. I said it, bro.
Just make it 13, so it's 7 and 6. So then it'd be 6 and 6. And then there'd be the Chief Justice, who would be
the Chief Justice is a goddamn.
Well, but what I'm saying is some of those guys, I really think that for some of them, if they could overturn like the equal rights in marriage for anybody, I think that if they could overturn Roe and overturn same-sex marriage, I think they'd retire. I think that they would feel like, no, I genuinely think they'd feel like their life's work is done.
I think they're addicted to the fame, bro.
I think if you pack the court, they definitely stay. But I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they try to convince him. Let's say Trump wins. I think Trump forces them out to replace them with loyalist Trump people to get more of an agenda through and hold that court for as long as possible. And then if anything...
But he can't force them out. They have a lifetime appointment.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen... I know they have a lifetime appointment. He could suggest that they leave, because we saw Kennedy resign for no fucking reason.
Yeah, true. And he was one of the, like, sane
conservatives. And then we saw that seat get held up until Trump got to fill it. So that's what I mean. I think that there's people who pull the strings on this that are. I've had a lot of theories about the Supreme Court for the past like 5 years, and so far I've been right. And I'm telling you, man, I think at least Clarence Thomas, especially if he comes out of this January 6th thing unscathed and there's nothing that comes from that, I think he'd rather fall into obscurity knowing that he overturned Roe and that stayed and stuck. I think he'd be content. I think he'd walk, because I think for him, he's been wanting to do that since he was a clerk. That's why I said like there's a generational thing with them where about like accomplishing these goals where it's taken them 50 years or so to overturn Roe, but they fought for that whole entire time. And that's a part of their ideology that they teach in law, that they teach, and whenever they bleed their religion in with their law, it comes out like that. So it's not just him wanting that, it's whoever he clerked for when he was in his 30s who told him that that needs to be overturned until he was a federal judge and worked his way up, and then he became a Supreme Court justice. So it's almost like for some of them, they're fulfilling a legacy that was placed upon them by people who taught them how to practice law. Sorry, that was, did that make
no, I agree with you on that. I just he might feel like more protected by remaining a Supreme Court justice than if he became like just a civilian again. He might be like feel like he's untouchable, and it looks like his wife is in some hot water.
Yeah, well, his wife is one thing.
She did. But I know, but I mean, like he's not aware of what's going on. Like, I mean, it probably, like he's like, well, just like how Trump hasn't been arrested yet, even though we all know that he's a fucking criminal. It's like because he's the ex-president, and they like want to be very cautious before they, anything happens. Yeah. I think the same thing with the Supreme Court justice, like indicting a Supreme Court justice is like, if it should happen, it should happen, but that's a big swing to take.
Well, yeah, but if they decide they want to speak with the Department of Justice wants to speak with Ginny Thomas with this new federal grand jury that exists for criminal charges against Donald Trump and any of the co-conspirators, like Lindsey Graham can't turn down that request, that subpoena to go talk to that federal grand jury. None of them. I think they said they've overturned over 20 different depositions. Towards that.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, I don't
know. Well, so what do you think about, we got, he confirmed like the Sacramento Superior Court judge would be if appointed, would be the first openly gay judge to serve in the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of California. Then there's another one, Rita Lynn, also named, Judge Rita Lynn and attorney Aricia Martinez Alguin for U.S. District Court in the Northern District of California. Lynn would be the second Asian American Pacific Islander woman, and then the other would be the first Chinese American woman. Oh, and the first Chinese American woman to serve in the court. And then Martinez would be the second Latina to serve on the court, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, and then Gavin Newsom got Padilla, was our senator who took over for Kamala Harris after she got the VP.
Yeah,
I think he's one of the first Latino, maybe not the first, but maybe first Latino like to be a senator in California. I think it's great, man. I think this is priority number one. Get the goddamn judges in office, because those are lifetime appointments, and it's not looking great, like as far as the midterms, and which I don't understand how the Democrats are going to lose this after how stupid the Republicans have been, but that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying, like, when you have to get this shit approved, by Congress, like it's, which I don't know if all of, like the district judges need congressional approval, but I feel like they would. So it's like time is limited. It's time to, like, because Trump did so much with packing the courts, like, so it's like this is basically just getting even. It's not even like we're like taking over.
Oh yeah.
Like,
No, nowhere near it. But it's a step in the right direction. That's why I like voting in your local elections and all of that stuff, and paying attention to stuff that goes in your backyard is what's important. And think people lose sight of the fact that there's a lot of like crazy parents that go to school boards at school board meetings. That's why a lot of the school boards make crazy wild ass decisions, because they hear from a lot of the parents that are like there every day and overly involved. I'm not saying like go freak out on your school board, but I'm saying there's a demographic of people that continually show up to those things and vote for those things, and it's not that they're the majority, it's just that they always show up and their voices are the ones that are heard, and so you can't be lackadaisical with stuff like that. But
don't get complacent.
Yeah, you can't expect the right person to be what Raphael Warnock is only polling like 3 points ahead of what's his dumbass Herschel Walker, who refuses to debate him but wants to debate him and literally can't put together a full sentence, and that man is losing to a doctor and a reverend. but only by 3 points though. Only by 3 points.
I heard it was like it's gotten like closer to like 9 or 10.
I think it's been, the gap's been closing, and he was like, dude, he's so stupid. I thought about making him my topic for the day, but I drag him so much. But he is just like he is so fucking stupid. He is so stupid, and it's just like CTE, just walking CTE. It just makes me cringe. It makes me worry about my future and like me getting a concussion or something. I'm like, oh my god, because I do not want to end up like that. And then
I just got a concussion 2 years ago or a year and a half ago.
Well,
fucking gnarly, dude.
Well, he's obviously had a lot because he is.
Oh
just
yeah.
So beyond, like, he's just so dumb. But he's such a tool for them to use and be like, well, look, I'm not racist because I voted for this black guy. But in reality, like, he's so incompetent and has no business being in that position. It's just like a scapegoat. It's like, oh, we're trying to siphon black voters away from the other black guy with this like clown of just a human being in general who doesn't know anything he's talking about and is completely underqualified. And the fact that he's even remotely close to being considered just shows kind of where society's at. And those and the people that want to vote for him are, like I said, the ones who show up and vote. So we got to show up and vote. Last article, and this is in regards to, I'm sure you've heard a lot about it. The article, while it's so Republicans who condemned kneeling NFL players just gave the middle fingers to vets. This is about that burning pit bill that just did not go through. If you haven't, I'd suggest hopping on Twitter or anywhere and listening to Jon Stewart's comments on it. He just goes off.
So for y'all, like, in like the war in Iraq that the United States was involved in, and maybe in Afghanistan too, they would take like all the shit that they like didn't need, so basically like trash, but like metal, like, stuff for like the military, and they would just throw jet fuel on it and burn it like right next to where all these soldiers were like sleeping, and now they all have like chronic disease, like from like breathing in that, like those fumes. And the United States government hasn't acknowledged that these people who went and fought for our country are now like suffering like lung damage and shit, like, and like other like diseases because of it. Like they will like aren't like, that's not a thing like for them to go to like the hospital or like the veterans administration, what veteran affairs.
Well,
the VA.
Yeah, so it was known as the PACT Act, and it was expanded because what it originally started were these there was a lot of cancer, and chronic like deadly bronchitis and all these different diseases. It started with September 11th.
I was going to say that. Yeah,
the September 11th, and
really similar to 9/11, like, and what happened to the firefighters, and first responders.
And like, I mean, I think Jon Stewart's a national treasure, but you can believe what you want about him. He's been advocating for this since like January 1st of September 2002. Like, he's been literally, because it's firefighters, it's police officers, it's military. A lot of these people have developed, like I said, terminal cancer. And now then we've seen it expand over into people coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. It's affecting so many people, and it would have expanded the VA to cover that. But it failed on a 55-42 vote, with 42 Republicans voting against the measure. And what's crazy is
they just voted for it.
And it passed,
like
and it passed, and it passed.
Yeah, last month, and then like 25 of them were like, no. Yeah. Like a month later, it's like, what?
Or I think it was 30 of them. 30 of them changed their minds. It was like Ted Cruz. It was our buddy Cornyn from the last episode we talked about, who won't let his people go to the Bar Association events or speak to the Bar Association, our wonderful attorney general in Texas. There's a laundry list of people who voted against it, who all voted for it. And it pretty much just fucked these people. A lot of them aren't even fighting for themselves for the PACT Act. They were more fighting for people who come after them, who go through the same thing and experience. They're like, some of these people have stage 3, stage 4 cancer. They're beyond the point of saving, and they're choosing to advocate for this bill because they don't want other people to experience what they did, or if they do, have the coverage, and they're fully aware, and they just don't give a shit. They just don't give a shit. And it's real hypocritical because you watch Kaepernick's a good example, and I didn't even think about it, but they talked about how he's rubbing his, giving the middle finger to all these, armed services and cops and all these, first responders. And in reality, like, that was the ultimate fuck you, because they just voted against them having coverage for the illnesses and diseases that they're contracting while they're serving for our country. It makes absolutely no fucking sense. They're all fucking cowards and they're all full of shit. And I mean, I'm not like a super pro police person or anything, but I have human decency. If you go and you like these people put their lives on the lines for other people, they deserve health insurance and coverage, especially if they, I mean, especially if
No,
they
I
can
know.
get
Well,
cancer. It doesn't make any sense how you can justify not giving that to them.
yeah, it's like if you can afford to send these people to go like fight in a war, then you better be able to afford taking care of them when they get back. And especially when you're wrapping yourself in the fucking flag, like acting like you're like these like you know you're the patriotic party as if like Democrats aren't. It's ridiculous, and it's just exactly like how you know they want to overturn abortion. However, they won't pay for like universal pre-K or like help you out with like you know with like the family care leave, you know, like and shit like that. It's like, oh, you guys care about like the fetuses, you don't care about the kids, even though you know call them fetuses kids. It's like you say you care about like you know our troops, and then when they come back home, it's like, oh, fuck off. You know, it's like fuck you, dude.
It's just
Like,
that's just crazy. Like I don't know how they can do that and expect that. These are the things where it's like they're picking these battles with certain people. Where I wonder how long they think they're going to be able. If they didn't have like gerrymandering and redlining and cutting people out and changing and kind of rigging stuff that way. Not to call it rigging, but that's like kind of how I view it.
no, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, you know, I just don't want to sound like a big like the big lie, but I mean, you know, they're rigging these elections and their voting demographics. I just wonder how long they think they can do that before they're gonna just offend everybody. Like how could anybody who's a vet be pro Ted Cruz? Like, and if you genuinely care about other people that fought with you, I don't like. And if they contracted cancer fighting for the country, that makes no sense. It's like the government, like the Republican Party is like the big shitty chemical company in Aaron Brockovich that doesn't want you to know that the lake behind the building catches fire and will do anything to make you fucking go away because they genuinely don't give a shit about anybody who got sick.
Yeah, they just give a shit about being in power, and that's why they play on these like cultural shit. You know, that's why like majority of Christians vote Republican, even though it's like if Jesus was alive, he'd be a Democrat. You know, it's like it doesn't make you know. It's like they just play on your like fears and anxiety, and then that's how they make up. And then they fuck with like gerrymandering, like you were saying, redlining, and like you know the voting districts. And then there's the
removing voting boxes. I get into somebody with it all the time, and they complain about they're like, well, you know, there's corruption and the mail-in voting. I was like, bro. Pennsylvania, they're like, what about Philadelphia and Pennsylvania? I was like, that is a Republican legislature that voted to expand mail-in voting, expand the voting time period. Every state decided to expand it if they wanted to, because they have states' rights. So they all voted to do that, and then a lot more people voted, and they lost the election. But they can't complain about all the mail-in voting and that it's unconstitutional when those people who are complaining are the ones who implemented it, have the majority, voted on it, and decided it passed. In Pennsylvania, nothing gets passed through the legislature without the Republican Party approval. Just like in California, you're going to have a hard time getting through without some sort of leniency on the Democratic side because you're going to have more Democrats. So it's you know each. I think people forget that it's not just like like Congress. There's like your state.
It's not at all. It's like it's like it's county by county. It's like it's even like more like decentralized than state by state. It's like every county has their own election like rules. Like so, but also the fucking idiot, the Secretary of State of Pennsylvania, during the 2016 election, where fucking Trump, you know, lost by 4 million votes, but actually won because of the Electoral College.
Yeah.
He on stage, on camera, was like, we got voter ID laws passed that will guarantee that Hillary Clinton loses the election. And it's like, and everybody like freaked out. They're like, dude, you're saying the you know, like, don't say that shit out loud. Like, yes, we're glad you did it. Like the Republicans are, but you're not supposed to say that on TV, you idiot. It's like, so it's like, yeah, even, you know, they expanded like the mail-in voting, but it's like they're still shitty.
Oh yeah, I mean there was one drop box for all of Harris County, which is where Houston is, which is the most heavily populated place. And they're like, no drop boxes in Texas.
Yeah, and it's like, why? Like you have to ask why. It's because they know that Republicans gonna show up in person during like a middle of a fucking pandemic, and like Democrats are gonna mail in their stuff like on balance, and so you know it's just I don't know, man. It's just so obvious. Like I feel like we rail about this all the time. Like it's so clear to me what what's going on. It's like they can't win on their ideas, so they try to fuck with like the election, which to me is the most un-American thing ever, is to like try to take somebody's vote from them. It's like that's what makes us the United States, is like the ability to vote for your leaders, and so like it's just gross, dude.
Yeah, no, definitely. It doesn't. It's that's why I think that people who choose to not pay attention to that are like we're just willfully turning a blind eye and not like choosing to not pay attention. And that's why I've said to like some of my friends, like, look, we could disagree on things, but there's a way to go about doing stuff and not. And if you just genuinely don't care about how things are being done and the process and like respecting like you talk about the Constitution, but you're not respecting the Constitution and how things should be done and how they should be executed. Therefore, like it's like you say that because it's like an easy fallback, but you don't mean it. You, as long as you get what you want, you don't care the tactics, and that's not how that's not how you play this game. That's not the way that you should go about doing it. That's not the way this government is structured. So
I know, and I always go back and forth on it, like where it's like I want the Democrats to be more ruthless, like how the Republicans are, but then at the same time, it's like then are we just as bad as them? Like if we're just like fucking with shit, like So, but it's an unfair ball game right now. It's like the Democrats try to play by the rules for the most part, and the Republicans don't give a fuck about the rules. So they'll just do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, hopefully that something like this comes up again and we can address this issue again, but it's bullshit. And the fact that they all voted no, the drop of the hat for no reason. There's video of them like fist bumping after the vote, like Ted Cruz and somebody else fist bumping and being like, yeah, we blocked that shit. And a lot of people say it has to do with them trying to pass inflation or address inflation and pass a bunch of other things. And they're just doing it to be spiteful. And that's probably the case. Knowing how our political system's been lately, it's probably spiteful. But
yeah, 100%. They just don't want to give Biden a win.
Yeah, just pay attention, guys, and like I said, make sure y'all vote, and remember, don't have short-term memory when it comes to what these people do, what they vote on. I think that now more than ever, holding them accountable and remembering this sort of stuff. I know it sounds cheesy, but remembering this stuff at the ballot box is going to be really important, and not just and it's not just for certain oh, are you going to vote for or against Herschel Walker? There's people who like vehemently support him that are in your local government, who if it's not him, it's going to be somebody else who's just like them. And I think that ideology needs to just fuck off and go away.
Yeah, vote down ballot, not just the guy on the top or the gal.
Yeah. All right. Well, for the last thing, this is Old Man Minute. So now we both have little rants. Mine, it's something I wanted to talk about. It was to be determined. I was going to do the Department of Education because our former secretary, Betsy DeVos, said that after being the Secretary of Education, said that department shouldn't even exist. Mind you, this is a woman who owns a for-profit Christian charter school bullshit thing and fucked up the whole educational system of Michigan, but I digress. I'm going to talk about this whole thing that's been going on. I wish I would have done it on Monday, but your laptop died. But Rachel Maddow talked about it, but it's this whole Christian nationalism movement and how toxic it is and how dangerous it is. And
how old it is,
and how old it is, and how old that term is. It started in like the 43s. You brought up FDR. Actually, let me pull this up real quick.
Yeah, it was like the early 1950s. It was like right after World War II.
Well, no, the guy who started it was. Let me find it real quick because I had it.
Yeah,
so it was the America First Party in 1943. Sorry, yeah. my screen's getting super bright. Sorry, you guys. It's just
he did it like it was like on either side of World War II. Like he started it.
Yeah, Gerald L.K. Smith was the gentleman who started he was and he created the America First Party, and he was big, huge racist, huge anti-Semite, huge against interracial marriage. He was basically a horrible
He called
person.
them like mongrels.
Yeah, he said, yeah, he used the term mongrels. And would do these speeches. I can't play them, so I'd suggest you look them up online. No, I'm just saying, if you're curious about, like, because Rachel Maddow had a really good piece on it, but if you're curious, she plays like a bit of one. It's very tame, but I'm saying you can't really find that many tame speeches of his without getting like flagged for something, because they're extremely incendiary and racist and anti-Semitic and all the horrible things you could imagine. Ran for president against FDR, lost, got less than 1,800 votes, and then there was basically this whole movement to make sure that he wasn't able to run. Basically everybody agreed that that guy was a huge piece of shit, Gerald L.K. Smith, and that he had no business ever running for president. But he ran the America First Party, which sounds familiar.
Christian nationalism was like his brand.
Yeah, was his brand, which was basically he tried to start a Christian national movement. He wanted that to be the biggest thing that he created, so that after he died, that legacy stayed. He built a massive statue in Arkansas called the Christ of the Ozarks. It's this big, massive Jesus statue, where there was this massive fundraising campaign where he was swindling people, and it was like huge. Basically ripped off a bunch of people and built a big statue of Jesus and acted like it took all the money. He died kind of recently. I want to say like 2002 or something. He lived to be or maybe no, it was probably later than that.
Earlier than that.
Yeah, earlier than that. I'm sorry. But so we have people now that are pushing this Christian national movement, pushing this Christian nationalism idea, and acting like it's not a big thing. So I'm going to switch over to the web.
Like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
And that's what we're about to play a track of. So I'm going to pull this up. It's a video. It's on the Twitter. It's only 41 seconds long. She has this little shitty podcast she does. Don't watch it. Don't listen to it. But this is the type of rhetoric that she's using when she talks about, okay, I'm a Christian first. My country comes second. There's a police officer we just saw. I can't remember what county it is. Wilkie, I think he has 44 criminal charges, and one of them was he pulled over a woman. She had weed in her car, and he said, I'll only write you a ticket and not arrest you if you let me baptize you in this river. And he baptized this girl. Dude, this shit's wild. You should look it up. And he recorded it on his cell phone. His other partner did. So rather than arresting this girl, he baptized her in a river, and then he has like a civil rights violation case going against him, and so does the department, and it's nuts. There's like 7 people. She was one of the 7 people that was suing this guy, and then she wound up dead of a drug overdose. Bruh. Look it up. This dude, there's a video, it just came out, where he baptized this chick and was like, if you decide to convert to Jesus, then I won't arrest you for these weed crumbs in your car. And she like did it.
I would do that.
It's cringy as fuck, dude. It's just like fat chubby.
It's like baptisms, like
chunky tubby dude in his boxers baptizing this woman in jeans on the side of the road in a river. Otherwise, he's gonna take her to jail. And he has all sorts of counts, all sorts of crazy counts. But she was one of the people suing him, and then she was found dead like 2 or 3 days ago, or maybe Jesus a little bit. Yeah, super rowdy.
No pun intended.
But that's like that's some police state shit. You can't. That's why I say you can't have religious freedom and have like Christian nationalism. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can't have religious freedom and live in like a Islamic caliphate. It doesn't exist. That's not the thing, because it's a religious state with religious laws where you'll be punished if you don't follow them. So I just want to play this quick clip. We can both discuss how creepy it is, and then we'll let y'all go, because I know we're like an hour and a half. But I just want to play this real quick, so I'm going to watch the volume a little bit. All right.
Is I believe in accountability, and I believe in not just saying something, but following through on it. And I believe that Republicans need to prove to the American people that we are the party of American nationalism.
So that right there as a comment in general is super scary. That is
I couldn't hear any of that.
Oh, you couldn't? Okay. I don't know why you couldn't. Dang. Okay. Well, that is what about now?
Christian nationalism.
No, you still can't hear it. Okay, well, I'm just going to play the clip. Well, she's talking about how the Republican Party needs to decide that they're a party of nationalism, and that we need to prove that to the American people.
I'm a Christian. I have no problem saying I'm a Christian nationalist.
Would you hook up with her?
And I think that's
No way, man. She's super scary, man. I feel like those arms, dude. She's so swole. I feel like she'd hurt me, dude. She's scary. But she says that she has no problems saying that she's a nationalist, and she has no problem saying that she's a Christian.
That we need to
so she's
embrace,
a Christian nationalist,
those
which has
policies that serve every single American,
back
regardless
in the 40s,
of how they vote.
That's like an obviously racist movement.
Yeah, so what she's saying right here is that she thinks that Christian nationalism movement and ideology in our government is good because if we have that, it's going to allow it represents everybody in this country fairly, which is not true.
They could be a
At
Democrat
all.
and a
That's like
progressive, but
purposefully
Christian
like
nationalist or American
not like
nationalist,
exclusive,
America First
like
policies
not inclusive.
Yeah.
still serve those people because they're the
Well,
right policies for everyone.
So she said, doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, Republican, Christian nationalism policies, and that's what's scary. That's what's really scary about the whole entire thing. Is it's not just like, okay, and I don't matter. It doesn't matter if you're Christian or Muslim or whatever. It's whenever you start trying to push those religious beliefs and project those things on other people, and then you're going to punish them, fine them, arrest them, give them tickets because they don't follow that. I mean, I was trying to have this argument with someone. It'd be if Southern Baptists take over the world and no one's allowed to drink soda anymore. That would be scary, and a lot of people would have issues. And if you drink soda, you're going to prison. That sounds fucking ludicrous, but there's sects of Southern Baptism of Southern Baptists that would love that because they don't dance at weddings, they don't drink alcohol. If Mormons made everybody wear magical underwear, that'd be a problem. But if that became policy, though all those things can exist because we have freedom of religion and we don't have the religious rule of law. If we continue to talk like that and walk down this path, we're at the other side of a coin. That is what a lot of people that we consider extremists in this world are fighting for on their other side of the coin. And at that point where we're not you can be one nation under God and we have freedom of religion, we can't be a Christian first nation. I don't think that you can have that and have laws that inflict that on other people.
Yeah, exactly. Like this country was founded like as like religious freedom. It was like one of the reasons why the Pilgrims were coming over here because they were getting persecuted. I don't think a lot of the forefathers of this that wrote the Constitution were actually Christians. So I don't understand what this like rebrand of it's like this nation was founded as a Christian nation. It's like, no, it was like the opposite.
Yeah, Thomas Jefferson used to think that the Constitution should be torn up every 20 to 30 years and be rewritten because older generations shouldn't dictate the lives of future.
Yeah, I mean that's why we have amendments. So
I know, but I'm saying he's like it should be completely redone because the generations of the past don't have the right to tell generations of the future how to live, and that dude like wrote that shit. So it's just, yeah, I mean, but also that's all speculation when we talk about it, but you can't have freedom of religion and have some massive Christian state at the same time. It's a complete and total you can, once you get into making policies and laws and rules and start imposing those things on other people. And that's why with some of these choices, when it comes to a woman's right to choose and stuff like that, or gay marriage, it's dangerous because they cite their religious beliefs as their reason. What did Clarence Thomas say? I wake up and I pray before I go to court and then I go to church after, or something like that. He had some cornball, or maybe it was Scalia. It was some schmuck who was trying to act like he was
not Scalia, Alito.
Or maybe Alito. No, but it could have been Scalia. It could have been an old quote.
Scalia's dead.
No, I know, not recently. This is like an old quote. Like an old quote that he said, like where he's like, he basically, I pray before I go to court and then I pray afterwards because I'm like religious first. Joe Biden's a Catholic first. If you were like, are you the president or a Catholic? And he'd be like, oh, I'm a Catholic.
Yeah, same with Pelosi, and then I think all 6 of the goddamn conservatives on the court are Catholics. So.
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
It really is.
And then, so that's why I'm saying it's no wonder they go after contraceptives, because some of them, like, depending on what degree of Catholic you are, that you don't necessarily believe in contraceptives at all. That's totally possible. They used to not believe in divorce. You used to be excommunicated from the Catholic Church if you got divorced.
That is true. I saw a sign, like people were protesting in Indiana because they were about to pass some ridiculous anti-abortion law, and I saw somebody's sign was like, I hope your mistress gets pregnant, and I was like, yeah.
That's pretty epic.
I mean, that's what my dad always told me. He's like, you're telling me if one of George Bush's daughters, but this is when George Bush was in office, got pregnant, he wouldn't force her to have an abortion. He's like, come on.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, that's why it's, these people that are like, what's his name? I told you, I think we've talked about Jesse Lee Peters. the black conservative commentator. He's always like, Beta, that guy, Beta. Have you ever seen him? Bro, I gotta send you his shit. He's wild. He's crazy. But he's like super homophobic, super anti anything alternate lifestyle. And now he's had like 6 people who come out and speak out against them. And one of them is David Pakman, who's like a pretty predominant, like liberal commentator who has like a really big following on lots of platforms, works with like Young Turks and stuff. And he was like, yeah, man, he's like, that guy totally groped me up back in the day. So they always catch these guys who are trying to do the opposite of whatever, and they end up get caught doing what they're persecuting other people for. So it's like
they project. It's like the most homophobic dude you know, like in high school, is probably gay.
Yeah, well, no,
the same shit.
But I mean, it's yes, but it's on like a whole nother level because the hypocrisy that they're doing, they're inflicting pain and, you know, punishing other people, and then they get to like have the fruit, like, you know, reap the fruits of having that lifestyle on the side. Like, so it's all, so like, you know, while you could be in the closet or whatever, that's fine. Everybody figures out when they want to come out on their own, but to choose that route of like persecuting other people and then doing that at the same time, you know, that's like if your parents grounded you for smoking weed and you caught them smoking a bowl, you'd be like, what the fuck, bro? Like, that's fine if you want, but like you make the rules, but fuck you, dude, that's bullshit. You can't get mad at me for doing exactly what you're doing. You're a hypocrite. And that's, you know, there's a lot of hypocrisy floating around when it comes to all this. But long story short,
Republicans don't actually believe in any, like, Republican politicians don't actually believe in it. Like, the shit they're selling, they just do it.
Yeah, like, it's like Newt Gingrich selling family values and cheating on his wife all the time.
Who had cancer.
Was going through cancer treatment, and then
twice, 2 different wives who had cancer. He cheated on,
and he still has the audacity to go on Fox or OAN or whatever bullshit network. Oh, and shout out to who was it? Verizon dropped OAN. Yeah. The only people keeping them in business is AT&T. Shocker.
AT&T's invested. I thought they dropped them too.
I don't think that. I think there's one more that's
not AT&T, but the CEO of AT&T fucking invested in OAN.
Oh, well, I mean, now no one else. If he's got all those viewers, so that's the whole thing. Is like you could disagree with what they're saying or invest in it, but now if you want it, you got to have AT&T, bro. And there's a lot of crazy motherfuckers who want OAN.
I think that they got too much of a backlash that they dropped it.
Oh, that's possible.
I'll have to look at it, but I thought Verizon was the last bastion of hope for that stupid ass channel.
Yeah, you know,
plus they didn't have any content anymore because we got rid of Russia TV.
Are you sure you don't want? We could like switch, dude. We could go and be like a Diamond and Silk. We could go by like Ebony and Ivory or something and become Republican commentators and just sell our souls and work for OAN. No, you're out. Okay, yeah, nah, never mind.
Not it.
Well, I think
close this up.
Yeah, well, so guys, don't forget, if you're watching, like, subscribe, leave a comment, please. We really appreciate it. The shows have been taking off. Our views have been up. Really, really appreciate all the feedback. You guys have been awesome. You know, episode 50.
Also, yeah, shout out to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, shout out Puerto Rico. Just picked up Puerto Rico. Hopefully it's one of the Paul brothers. And if it is, fuck you.
And then episode 50 on Monday is going to be epic.
Yeah, so it'll be 5 of us on here. I got our little tiles charted out, so bear with me on the technical difficulties. But yeah, we will be here Monday. It'll be our normal time, 8:30. We're gonna rock this shit out. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm gonna probably pull some videos and some other cool stuff. So there's gonna be a lot of people. So the format might change. We'll have to, like I said, Sunday night we all have to get on, and so I can like cue it and make sure it works. So there's no, like, we can't be trying to figure it out 10 minutes before, but
yeah, for sure. And then shout out to me because I'm about to win the Mega Millions Powerball like tonight, you know.
I don't know, man. I got my tickets and they're up on my little lucky shelf, bro. So I don't know, dog. I might be.
It's a good investment because it's 1 in 303 million chance you will win, and the shit's at like 1.3 billion.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like a...
Well, I have a limit. I would say if it's like at least like 300 or 400 million or more, I'll buy I'll get in, because otherwise I'm just like, they're like, oh man, it's 50 grand, I gotta get it. I'm like, no, like I'm gonna wait. I just wait till it's like an absurd amount to where I can't justify not, and then I'll get one. Otherwise I don't. I'm like, nah, fuck that. I think the first time I bought a Powerball ticket was, I want to say like my 28th or 29th birthday, and it was some crazy amount where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get a ticket, I'm gonna go 1 for 1, and that didn't happen. So
yeah, no,
we're going 1 for 4, baby.
I only bought one ticket because I like have a weird superstition, which I don't know where it comes from. That like if I bought a second one, then I'm just jinxing myself. I'm not gonna win.
Yeah,
so I'm just like one and done, baby. Let's go.
I always said, good things come in threes. So I bought one ticket, but it has 6.
Well, bad things come in threes too. All right, holler, y'all.
Yeah, check out. Check out Podcast Monday. Y'all be good. Stay out of trouble. Have a good, safe weekend. You got anything else? Sorry, I cut you off. I just forgot.
No.
We just get rambling again. It's too much fun.
I know.
Yeah, but thanks for tuning in. Y'all be safe. Have a good, safe weekend. Stay out of trouble. Check out episode 50, please, and go back and look at any episode or listen to any episode because you can check out the boys before they come on Monday. But like I said, we love you guys. We appreciate you. Have a good, safe week. And like always, go fuck yourselves, y'all.